Hey, what is up, guys? This is Cobb, and welcome back to another goddamn Sundays episode. Got a couple of great questions in this one that I want to get to right away. The first one coming in from Mr. Vincent Brown asking, is there anything you wish you knew growing up that you know now? Mine would be that hard work goes far. I did slack off at a few jobs that could have turned out quite well. What a question, man. Holy shit, you had me scratching my head for a while about this one, and I think I've boiled it down to 3 general things that I really wish that I had learned sooner. Maybe not growing up, but at least at the point at which I was like 18, 19 years old, entering the adult world, in earnest. And I wish I'd known these things a lot sooner. So the first one would be to not think that you know everything. Me at 19 years old, I thought that I had everything figured out, man, for real. I was very, very atheistic. Still am an atheist today, I guess, technically, if you want to get into technicalities about the word, but I was very, very atheistic. I was very, very left-leaning in my political views. Everyone who disagreed with me, I was that typical ridiculous, uninformed, arrogant lefty, who thought that everyone who disagreed with me was somehow flawed as a person. They were racist. They must have been homophobic. They're a dinosaur. They're outdated. They need to get with the times. Mass immigration, one world government. Yeah, man, that shit. That's what the world needs. That was me. Fucking didn't know shit about shit. Man, was the truth, I was a fucking idiot. I was a moron. And I think that most people under the age... Honestly, most people are under the age of like 22. The voting age, for real, should be... Let's not even get into that just yet. But it shouldn't be as low as it is. Because people under the age of 20, if you're watching this right now, you're under the age of 20, chances are you're a moron, and that's okay. That's okay, man. Just know that you really don't fucking know anything, man. You really, really don't know anything. Or at least, I certainly didn't. Maybe I'm an exception. Maybe it's just me who was a fucking idiot under the age of 20, But it's like, until I was like 24, 25, I had no idea what was what. Seriously, man. 24, 25-ish is why I actually started to learn how the world works. I'd paid taxes for a good number of years at that point, I'd paid my way in life for a good number of years at that point. I'd been with Sophie for some time, and it's like, only by that age did I start to understand what was what. So just to break that down a little bit further, when it comes to like atheism and stuff like that, like again, technically speaking, I guess I am still technically an atheist, but I consider myself a very faithful, very spiritually minded, very Christian atheist. Which might sound like a complete fucking, like, how is that even possible? How is that even possible? First thing you gotta realize, if you were born in like the United Kingdom, or I'd imagine like most places in America, many places in Central Europe, and your country is typically Christian in its like religious leanings, as in there are more Christians than Muslims, or it's been typically a Christian country for the past like 100 years, whatever. You're a Christian, you just don't fucking know it yet, man. Seriously, dude. Christian values are in the earth that you tread in the country that you were raised in, man. And you might not realize it. And this might be triggering to some people who are like younger atheists and they're not quite well constituted enough to take this one on the chin, and they're going to get all salty about it. But that's okay. It's alright, man. I understand. I've been there too, I've been through that old rebellious, somewhat resentful atheist phase, when I was a little bit younger. But seriously, man, religion is much, much more, and I wish I knew this when I was younger, religion is much, much more than belief in a deity. It really, really fucking is. And while I would never consider myself a religious person in that classical sense, I definitely, in the past few years, have taken on a much greater respect for everything, really, that came before me. Speaking about, society, government, history itself, wars that were fought, religion being one of these things. Not one of the wars that was fought, but, the religion, the institution of religion, and spiritual beliefs and all of those things that came before me, I have so much more respect for those things now that I actually know something about the world, I really appreciate the fact even that I was born in the United Kingdom and that Christianity was very much one of the pillars of one of the pillars that propped up, everything that England and Britannia was and has been, over the past few hundred years. And it's not that it, hasn't been without its evils. Obviously, man, even like the best systems in the world and best institutions in the world fuck things up royally, from time to time. I suppose what I'm really saying is, don't throw yourself blindly into fucking arguments with goddamn religious people just for the sake of kind of mentally sparring, because for you it's just a game. It's just a game, right? Atheism is just the denial of a God claim. That's effectively all it is, it's the dismissal of a God claim. So for you it's like, whatever, man, the stakes don't mean anything to me. I don't believe I'm gonna burn in hell. Okay, I don't believe that what I'm doing is immoral because there's no one up there judging me. There's no supernatural entity that's judging my actions. So for you, it is really it's just a game of language. It's just a game of words, Whereas for religious people, it's fucking important to them, man. It's important to them. And you're swinging your dick around and you don't know shit all about shit. Seriously, you fucking don't, man. You really, really don't. You don't know what God is. You don't know what God is to them. You don't know what God is. Like, every single individual, you can ask them what God is, they'll have a different fucking answer. They'll have a different answer. To me, what is God? What is God, man? God is consciousness. God is your conscience. God is what separates us from what you might call like lesser animals or lesser beasts, That's all God is to me. And if you had to ask me, so what about all the religious texts and stuff like that? I'd imagine that all religious texts are basically just people's attempts at dramatizing and understanding the mental conflicts of our own consciences as human beings and putting it into literary form, And it took me a long fucking time to get here, man. It took me a long time to get here. I loved arguing with religious people, man. It was so much fun, and yet I regret it so deeply because it's like, because what the hell did I know, man? What the hell did I know? I didn't know shit all about shit. So yeah, that's one of the things that I wish that I had known way back in the day, man. Don't fucking... It's more than just don't argue about stuff that you don't really understand. It's more than just about not mouthing platitudes that you don't really understand beyond the surface level. I feel like I was just playing the part of a mouthpiece for the fun of it without really understanding the implications of what I was doing, man. And now the funny thing is, it's like 10 years later, now that I'm approaching 29, it's like I would never I look back and I kind of cringe at my younger self, man. I used to think that I knew so fucking much, whereas, man, I would bitch slap the shit out of myself if I could go back and, visit 19-year-old Tom. But yeah, that would be the first one, man. The next would be that rich people have earned their money. If I could just go back and tell myself that, instead of being a blathering little fucking socialist... no offense, man. If you're like a hardcore socialist and you believe in, helping out the working class and the rich should be like really, really heavily taxed and all of those things, and man, look, I can debate the shit out of this all fucking day with like possible things that you might say in response and blah blah blah. So I'm not going to go into that. But the fundamental fact is that in most first world countries on the planet, people who have money. Most of them, again, some people have cheated and swindled their way there. Most people, the overwhelming majority, earned every fucking penny that they have in their goddamn bank account, man. And it's really that simple. They've just done more than you, okay? They've done more than you. They've worked harder than you. They're smarter than you, okay? And they're able to influence more people than you. And they've usually accumulated that wealth by providing value to a large amount of people. That's just what they do. They run businesses, okay? And once they have money, maybe they invest that money very, very smartly into businesses that are doing well and that are taking off and that are supplying people with value, They fucking earned their money. They've earned their money. Like, Jesus, if I'd known that when I was like 18, 19, man, I could have spared myself a whole lot of fucking resentment. Capitalism? For all of it, like, people say, capitalism's evil, this and that, it leaves behind so many people who can't pay their way. It's like, yeah, look, again, it's one of those things, it's imperfect, okay? It's imperfect, right? It's not a net that catches everybody and everybody gets lifted up, People get left behind, man. Capitalism is, in essence, it's like a slightly twisted form of natural selection where value is selected, right? So instead of like a gene being selected and a gene being weeded out by natural selection, capitalism is effectively it's uplifting the people who provide the most value, you know, and it's bestowing more wealth upon the people who've generated the most value for mankind as a whole. And again, people can slip through the cracks and people can get to the top by cheating and swindling, but by and large, it kind of fucking works, you know. There's nothing more bizarre to me now. Like, looking back again, I would have been like, oh yeah, capitalism, it's so corrupt, dude. It's so corrupt, this and that. Oh my god, man. Like, everyone at the top is just like avoiding taxes and shit like that. Well, you know what? They're fucking smarter than you because they're able to avoid taxes. You know what I'm saying? Maybe you should fucking take some notes, right? Because what are your taxes going? Your taxes are just going to the government anyway. What do you want your taxes to go to the government? What the fuck are the government? Man, let's not even get there, okay? So I'm pretty libertarian, as you might be able to tell as well. I don't fucking believe in big government. I think it's horseshit. Government is there to save the public in the most minimal way possible, in my view. And I've totally lost track of what I was saying. Okay, I got totally off track. Completely lost my fucking train of thought. But the TLDR is, rich people earn their money, and it's actually healthier for you to just believe that, depending on what country you live in, right? I know this is harder in some places, you know, but if you're living in like the US, okay, as I know a lot of you guys will be, or, you know, one of the first world countries of Central Europe or the United Kingdom or whatever, then typically speaking, anybody with wealth has earned that wealth, and it's actually healthier for you mentally. It's going to be healthier for your career, for your peace of mind, all of those things. If you just take that at face value and accept that there are going to be exceptions to the rule every now and again where people have fucked the system, you know? Because the alternative is trying to tear the system down, having no faith in the system, and not working hard because, oh, well, you know what, I'm not going to make it anyway because only fucking swindlers and cheats and crooks are the ones who get to the top of the food chain anyway, so I don't have a chance because I'm virtuous. I'm not willing to do whatever it takes and fuck people over to get to the top. I'm not going to do that, man. I'm going to be a good person. Whereas in reality, it's just like, no, you just can't. You just can't get to the top because you know what? Like most people, you're not smart enough to get to the goddamn top, you know? Like me. We can work real hard and you can get somewhere with hard work and that's great. But at the end of the day, again, people with wealth and people who have generated a lot of wealth in their lifetime, being born into wealth is obviously one of the exceptions, but people who generated wealth in their lifetime, Jesus Christ, man, they are smarter than you and they're working harder than you. Fucking believe it, man, because 99% of the time it's true, you know? And just to go back to that whole point about, you know, oh, well, I'm just too virtuous to do what it takes to get money because I'm not a crook. It's like, that's exactly the same fucking mentality as hating on the confident guy in the bar or hating on the confident guy in the gym who's like hitting on all of the MILFs, you know, and being like, oh, well, he's just an asshole and women only go for the jakes, you know, and it's like, yeah, but the jakes are getting all kinds of, you know, the jakes getting all kinds of action, man. What are you doing, you know? They're doing something right, you know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying that you need to be an asshole, again, because it's not about that. It's about being competent at the game that you're playing. And that's all that really fucking matters, man. And again, just embracing that mindset. Do all kinds of young people all kinds of good. Seriously, man. Have faith in people's competence. That's really it, man. And develop your own. Is what I tell myself when I was like 18, 19. And the last thing that I would tell myself when I was at around that age, that critical age, that young adult age, is, oh yeah, actually, wait a minute. I meant to fucking cover something real fast about the voting age. I just want to put out there, real quick, and this might be fucking controversial. Hello, Numpkin, by the way. I love she's just been here for like the whole goddamn video. Look at that, man. Look at that little head. She likes her chin scratches, man. You go get it. The voting age should be like fucking 25 plus at least 3 years of paying income tax. Straight up, man. Because until you've done that, even then, even after doing that for a few years, I was still a fucking retard. I was still a mongoloid, you know? I didn't know fucking anything. I didn't know nothing about nothing, but at least I had some world experience. At least I paid my way a little bit. At least I understood the concept of tax and taxation and tax brackets and things like that. It's like, When you're like 18 years old, man, and you're going straight from like college to university or whatever, you just don't know anything, man. You don't know anything, and it pisses me off so much to see these goddamn... You know, I'm just gonna fucking say it, man. I don't give a shit, man. This is Sundays with Cobb, man. Not Sundays with fucking censored Brack, okay? Sundays with Cobb, special, straight up here. Nothing fucking pisses me off more than seeing left-wing politicians exploit idiot young voters who don't know anything. They don't know fucking anything. And the politicians know that. And the politicians come out and they say stupid shit like, oh, we're gonna up the minimum wage to $25 an hour, and this, that, and the other fucking thing, and we're gonna end racism, which, by the way, almost doesn't fucking exist in most first world countries. Like the UK, they're making fucking statements about racism. It's just like, what are you talking about, dude? It's so absurd. And I know these are blanket statements, and I know that of course racism still exists. Of course it does, right? Racism still exists, like homophobia still exists, and like steam trains still exist, you know, like they're out there. You can go looking for them and you'll find them, you know, if you look real hard, and you go to the right places. But it's like, fuck me, man. The extent to which young voters are exploited by politicians, and they have their hearts and their compassion exploited by politicians, is fucking unbelievable to me. Doesn't actually your prefrontal cortex only finish developing by the time you're like 23, 24 something? So you're not even able to think properly until you're like 23, 24 years old. Maybe I've just made that up, and maybe I'm just remembering that from somewhere a long time ago. Maybe it's not correct. I don't know. Whatever, man. Those are just some thoughts that I thought I'd spit out there, along with the rest of this far-right, alt-right rhetoric that would get me cancelled on Twitter. And the last thing that I wanted to cover is that being introverted is not a good thing. It's not a good thing, man. Nothing makes me kind of cringe harder than when I'm scrolling through fucking Facebook, okay? And this is coming from somebody who's actually very, very introverted, and it's getting fucking heated, as you can see by the rosy flush in my cheeks talking about all these damn things, 'cause I'm actually quite passionate about a lot of these things that are covered. I'm scrolling through Facebook and I see some bullshit, right? Some like 40-second video. The secret power of introverts. I'm like, oh, okay, well, what's my secret power, Ruffalo? Let me check this out, you know? So I'm watching it, and introverts, being disconnected from the social sphere, are able to observe and judge the actions of others more acutely, and they tend to be more creative and all this shit. I'm just like, so what? Like, extroverted people can be just as fucking creative as introverts. And being an introvert is not a fucking good thing, okay? Let's just get that straight, man. Let's get that straight. And again, this is coming from an introvert. I need alone time, okay? I can't do any longer than a few hours, unless assisted by alcohol, with a big-ass group of people. I just can't fucking do it. And even if I do, the next day, I need to take like 48 hours by myself, writing, reading, listening to podcasts, and just working, you know, or going to the gym or whatever, and just be on my own. Introverts don't have any special superpowers, man. You're just introverted. You know what introversion is? It's a lack of extroversion. Extroversion is a positive personality trait that allows you to engage with other people. The only real difference between introverted person and extroverted person is that an introverted person appreciates and requires alone time to kind of recuperate and get some energy back and focus on their own thing. An extroverted person can really feed off of group energy and social interaction and stuff like that. Those are the only real actual differences. Besides that, everything about being an introvert, almost everything, is like worse than being extroverted, man. If you're introverted to the point where you're too shy to go to the fucking gym because you don't want to have to talk to the cashier at the front desk, or you're nervous when you go to interact with a cashier at a store, or you're too shy to do whatever by yourself, or whatever the hell it is, you know, you're just a shy, fucking withdrawn, introverted person, and you're not engaging with people. It's like, you've got a problem. You've got a goddamn problem, and I know you've got a problem because I used to be that fucking introverted guy, okay? I used to get tight in the chest when I had to go speak with people. I know some people are going to say, oh, well, I'm misconstruing being introverted with having anxiety or something like that. I never considered myself an anxious person. I was just shy. I was very, very badly practiced at speaking and interacting with new people. That's what I was. And that was a product of introversion. Now, I'm not saying that being bad at interacting with other people is introversion, because it isn't. What I'm saying is that being bad at interacting with other people and projecting yourself in a group setting and speaking up is more of a symptom of an introverted person. And it can be overcome, it can be managed and all of that, and I'll get into that in just a sec. But yeah, the first thing that I would tell myself is that don't listen to all this bullshit about introversion being a superpower. Don't listen to all this bullshit, and don't accept your own introversion like it's this immutable personality trait. It's not like IQ, you know, it's not fucking fixed, right? It's not like, oh, you get to 18 and then however introverted you are, you're just stuck with that for the rest of your life. It's not like that, man. It's not like IQ. It's not fucking crystallized, you know? It's malleable. It's malleable through practice at being more extroverted and through becoming competent and confident in given fields. And that's how you overcome being introverted. That's how you get more, it's how you get more talkative. It's how you get more confident and more able to speak up and voice your fucking opinion, right? Get self-sufficient, okay? Start earning a salary. Live in your own goddamn apartment. If that's financially feasible, do it as soon as fucking possible. Just become self-sufficient. Start looking after yourself, right? Once you've done that, get good at something. I don't mean just a little bit good. I mean go fucking balls deep, okay? Balls deep, right? Into whatever the hell it is that you're interested in. Get really, really fucking good at it, okay? Get involved in that community, okay? Maybe help people out. Give people some tips. Help newbies out who've just kind of joined the community. Give them some tips. Give them some handouts, give them some help, right? This is probably reminiscent to some of you guys for what I did in WoW. It's one of the ways that I started to kind of come out of my shell. You listen back to my first fucking videos, dude, where I was like speaking with my with my mic for the first time, like, what's up there, guys? This is Cobb. I was making my voice like way too fucking deep because I just thought, well, it was like a defense mechanism, you know? What if they think my voice is squeaky? I'm gonna speak like this. What's up there, guys? This is Cobb. And I'm kind of speaking quietly, so I've got the mic really close to my mouth, so that I don't have to speak very loud, but you guys can still hear me. So, we're about 100 subscribers from getting the channel partnered, and it's gonna be awesome. I just want to say big thanks to you guys. Like, I was just a fucking lemming! I was a moron! I had no idea what the hell was that? Like, I was the most attuned person at speaking to people that you're ever bound to meet, you know? I was as introverted and as awkward as any other fucking 18, 19-year-old introvert, you know? How did I overcome that? Well, I got really good at WoW. I think that's fair to say, you know? Some people say, oh, fucking Cobrak shit, you know? That's a whole other thing. But whatever, you know? I got good enough at WoW so that I could start creating guides, so I could start helping people, so I could start creating montages, so that I could hype people up and get people, you know, excited to speak to me. And I actually had something real to offer them, to offer people, right? And that just felt good. It made it really, really easy to talk to people. I didn't feel awkward. I didn't feel like an imposter. I didn't feel like I was too, oh, well, I don't really have anything to say because I'm just a fucking little mongoloid, you know? No, man, I was competent. You know, I had something of value to offer. And that's what breeds confidence. That's what breeds confidence, you know? And then once you start talking to enough people, it becomes easier and easier to talk to new people. And I started just fucking typing to people on WoW. That graduated into talking to you guys through, like, the mic. That eventually graduated into giving, like, younger cousins and stuff like that, like, advice, life advice and stuff for all the little that I knew. But, you know, I'd try. And now it's graduated to me being in a management position in a company in a foreign country and just doing fucking grand, you know? And I've still got a lot to learn and a lot of growth can still happen, and that's a good thing. But it all began really with just building confidence and starting to put myself out there more with baby steps, you know? And not accepting that being introverted is just part of my core personality and it's like this immutable characteristic that I'm just gonna, you know, be stuck with forever. So, yeah. Those are the three things, man. Being introverted, not being good. Stop thinking that you fucking know everything, especially when it comes to politics and religion and things like that, because you fucking don't. You're a moron, okay? I'm still a moron even now, but at least I know it, right? And the last one was that rich people have earned their money, typically speaking. Yeah. Those are the three things. Some of those might stir the pot up a little bit with some of you guys, and I'm really interested to see what you guys think about those three things that we covered just here and now. But yeah, that's what I got for that question. So thanks very much, man. Vincent Brown. Really, really good question, man. Really fun to answer, actually. The next one comes in from Mr. Haller, and he says, "Hey Cobb, I was wondering if you could give me advice on how to make a move. Just like you, I want to move out because I don't see myself developing in my country. But I don't know how. How do I start a new chapter?" Damn. See, this is a tough one, man. Because, first of all, I'd like to know how old you are, actually. If you post a comment with a question at any point in this video, by the way, for like next week's episode, do definitely go ahead and feel free to drop in things like age and stuff like that, because it's actually very, very relevant. Age, your country of residence, stuff like that. Because first of all, I'd say that don't jump to the idea of moving country to make a change, right? Before I moved to Bulgaria to work more closely with GameLeap, I was working with them for about 11 months, maybe a little longer. I think it was about 10 or 11 months before we actually decided to go ahead and make the move. And even then, we visited for like a week, and then it wasn't until like a few months later again that we eventually decided to like go ahead and move our asses over there, you know, and make all of the proceedings start to happen. So it wasn't like a sudden process where we just kind of jumped into it, you know. It was something that we went into very, very tentatively, and I'm glad that we did that. I'm glad that we did that because it made it more comfortable. It meant that we felt much more pre-set up before we made the big lunge. We were very, very prepared for exactly what we were going to do, what the plan was, and all of that. So I'd start with that, actually. Make a fucking plan, okay? Make a plan. It can be really, really simple, okay? First of all, you need to write it down. That's really, really important, okay? Write down what you want to do. Make it real, okay? Make it physically real, okay? So that it's out of your head, you know? And what you should do, what I would start with if I were you, is write down where you will be 1 year from now if you continue doing what you're doing right now. You might find out that it's really not that bad. You might find out that maybe you've only got to make a small change. Maybe you've only got to start going to the gym. Maybe all you've got to do to tweak your life and improve it significantly is quit smoking. Something like that, you know? Maybe all you've got to do is spend like 1 hour a day reading about a topic that you're really, really interested in. And then at the end of that year, maybe you commit to taking, you know, a course in university or something like that, or starting an apprenticeship or something, you know? And maybe that's the plan that you want to make. But I would start out by just mapping out where you'll be 1 year from now if you change nothing. You might not like it. That's fine. At least you fucking know, okay? At least you know. Then likewise, make a plan in the opposite direction. What if you were to change the things that you wanted to change? What do you actually want, you know? Do you want to make more money? Do you want to get healthier? What is it exactly that you wanted to change? And the reason I'm answering this question as well, is because Mr. Dallas Royal also asked a very, very similar question about breaking into a new career path, a new field of expertise and stuff like that, and how should he go about that if he has no formal experience. And I think that these questions fall into a similar vein, and you can really tackle these in the same way. Again, make a goddamn plan, okay? Make a plan. What exactly do you need to break into this new career path, if that's what you want to do, or to get healthy, or to start earning, you know, X amount as like a yearly salary or whatever, you know? What do you actually need? You need to know, right? You need goalposts to aim for. The next thing you're going to find, probably, if you're wanting to change something significant in your life, like starting in a new place of employment or getting promoted in your current workplace or moving country or whatever it is that you're going to have to sacrifice a lot, man. A lot of things that you're doing right now just aren't going to fly anymore. Like, there's a reason I disappeared from YouTube for like a year and a half. I think it was like about a year that I disappeared from YouTube. And that's because I just went all in, man. I went all in working with GameLeap and securing the move over here to Bulgaria and all of those things. And I just didn't have I probably would have had the time to continue with YouTube if I'd really pushed it and just worked flat out like 8 hours a week between GameLeap and YouTube and those kinds of things, and the gym. But I just didn't have the mental real estate available to put towards thinking about anything but my current goals, man. And those just simply did not involve World of Warcraft or YouTube or any of those things, you know. So yeah, I had to sacrifice those things, you know. I had to sacrifice those things. Sacrificed a lot, you know. A lot of money to move over here. And these were all things that I was kind of conscious of while going through it. I was like, man, there's a lot of things that I'm just going to have to drop if I want to make this happen, you know. And the next thing to realize is once you've sacrificed these things, these old habits, and taken on some new habits like reading more or going to the gym more or working harder at your current place of work or studying outside of work, whatever these new habits are that you've replaced the old habits with, because that's really crucial, man. If you try to take on too much, it's not going to fucking happen. You got to sacrifice some shit that you're doing right now, man. It's just the way that it is. You only have so many hours in the day, you know. You need to understand that you literally are a product of your habits, okay? Every time you go to the gym or skip the gym, okay, you are rewiring your fucking brain and you are sculpting your body, you know, because you're a product of your habits. You're a product of what you eat. You're a product of what you think. You're a product of your political leanings. Everything that you do is influencing you and the people around you all the fucking time, and they're influencing you as well. So that's something to think about too, man. The sacrifice that you have to make, sometimes you've got to sacrifice people, dude. Sometimes you've got to sacrifice people. People that aren't good for you, people that are time sinks, people that drag you down, people that are always negative, people that are low-key resentful about you doing better or striving to do better, you know, and you'll pick up on that, man, if you're paying attention, you know. You'll see that in people, and you got to be willing to lose the dead wood. You know, you have to be willing to lose the dead wood and know that you know what you want and go after it with everything that you got, man. But yeah, it all starts really with making a plan, making that plan physical, okay? Have a huge fucking Word document if you need to, where you list everything out and bookmark that shit on Google Drive or whatever the hell it is you need to do, or literally write it down physically. It will make all the difference in the world, you know? And check in on it. Stick it to the front of your goddamn refrigerator. Stick it to your front door. Whatever the hell it is that you got to do, you know? You need to beeline towards things, man. Things don't change on their own, you know? In fact, left on their own, or left to their own devices, or whatever the saying goes, like, entropy will take place and things fall apart, you know, things naturally fall to pieces. So you got to wrestle against that all the fucking time and really, really know what you want and be able to make the necessary sacrifices to work your way towards that. And that's all that it really is to making a change. It's not that hard in theory, but it's hard on your soul, man. It's hard on your soul. But you know what? I'd recommend you just fucking do it. Just do it, man. What's the worst that can happen, you know? What's the worst that can happen? You spend 6 months working, like, really beelining towards a goal that you really, really want. You get 6 months in, and you decide that you don't want that anymore. So what, man? So what, dude? You probably learned some discipline. You probably kicked some bad habits, or at least reduced your bad habits a little bit. You probably learned some new things, and make a new fucking plan from there, you know? And that's life, right? That's life. So, yeah, that's what I got to say about that, man. That's what I got to say about that. Okay, so I think that pretty much wraps up this episode of Sundays. I gotta go get something to drink, man. It is hot as hell in here now because I haven't shut the fuck up this whole time. My throat's dry as hell. We've done this without almost any cuts, I think, through the whole thing, which is fucking good for me because nice and easy to edit. And yeah, I hope that was an interesting episode. If y'all got some questions, please do drop them down below in the comments for next week's Sundays with Cobb episode. Really glad the series is back, man. It's fun to talk to you guys and talk about these things, and your questions are always so grand. So, appreciate it a lot. Thanks for stopping by, everybody. Do enjoy the rest of your day, and I'm going to catch all of you guys just a tad bit later.